legalizing marijuana is beneficial to society. This is the argument, the claim that I'll be arguing against for the next couple of minutes. The benefits, as outlined by the proponent of this claim, are that taxing are as follows: is that taxing marijuana will help reduce the deficit, and that legalizing marijuana will help decongest the penal system. For the first claim, taxing marijuana he gives no evidence stating whether it will actually generate enough income on the taxing of the marijuana that will help reduce the deficit in California. It is possible that after the marijuana is taxed, that people will continue to buy illegal marijuana from the regular dealers, given on the fact that there are no statistics given on how much the price will be affected, and if the government-sanctioned marijuana will be more expensive or cheaper than the one that is available now. On the second claim, that it will help decongest the penal system, I found a quote from the website, one of the websites that he used, that says that on the risk of arrest from marijuana, it says that it is also important to point out that in no Western country is a user at much risk of being criminally penalized for using marijuana. The rates of arrest for past year marijuana users in Western countries are typically less than or equal to 3%. More important, almost none of those convicted of simple possession is incarcerated or receives a fine exceeding $1,000. Other than the fact that not many people are arrested just for simple possession, this law that will legalize marijuana in California will create a power struggle between the state and federal government, seeing as Article 6 of the Constitution, it states that this Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. Under the judges in every state shall be found thereby, and anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. Also, this combined along with a quote from current Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, in a letter that he wrote to former DEA chiefs, saying that we will vigorously enforce the Controlled Substances Act against those individuals and organizations that possess, manufacture, or distribute marijuana for recreational use, even if such activities are permitted under state law. This alone represents one of the proponents' secondary supporting claims that the less money was spent on the war on drugs is untrue, as how the federal government plans to continue pursuing and prosecuting many people who are using recreational marijuana in California, in the state of California. Also, legalizing marijuana may have unintended consequences here in the United States and in the countries surrounding it. As many of you may not know, there is a drug war in Mexico going on. It started 3.5 years ago by the Mexican president Felipe Calderon, and since then it has claimed 28,000 victims. And having a state-sanctioned legal drug market for one of the biggest Mexican organized crimes would just be a slap in the face to the Mexican authorities and their efforts to try to protect their people. I hope you guys can agree that legalizing marijuana in the state of California will only have negative effects, will only have negative consequences. Thank you.
All right, the secondary and main points are laid out okay. Your challenge on the lack of evidence on the taxation issue is okay. You provide kind of a reasonable alternative theory, but you've got no evidence on this point either, and it would be a lot more convincing if you could provide some data and contrast that data versus the lack of data from the advocate. I thought you did a good job on minimizing the impact of arrests. You had good information here, and you used that very effectively. Same thing with the constitutional crisis that you're talking about. You had the Supreme Law of the Land, and then you have the Attorney General talking about vigorous enforcement. So in essence, the benefits of legalization when it comes to costs and enforcement procedures, that's certainly going to be minimized. You kind of have this negative disadvantage argument. So you're on the brink of making a policy claim here, and the part of the problem is that the advocate, in essence, has that problem too, because they're giving a factual claim about a policy, and it's all hypothetical about what would happen assuming we put that policy into place. So I think that does open up the door for you to make this other argument. However, your claim here is really not factual in nature. It's more a value argument that it's a slap in the face of Mexico. Well, does slapping Mexico in the face have a negative consequence? Does surrendering to the drug trade, for instance, have long-term negative consequences both to Mexico and the United States? If you could demonstrate that, then I think it's got a little bit more application here. All right, thank you.